Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Systems Conference podcast. I am here today, and I'm here with my friend Sam Eddinger. He's going to be talking about some things he does within his business. Let's welcome Sam Eddinger from Ironclad Property Management. Sam, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Paul. I appreciate you having me on the podcast.
So, Sam, where's your property management company based?
We're in Connecticut, central Connecticut, in a small town called Middlefield.
Okay, great. And about how many properties do you manage?
So we manage about 120 properties. It's about 300 units. But I also did buy this office building recently. I don't really count that in my unit count. So about 300 residential units currently.
300 residential units. Cool. And have you attended the Systems Conference in the past?
Yeah, I attended a couple years ago, and I loved it. And that's why I'm so honored to be a speaker this year.
That's great. What did you like about the Systems Conference?
I liked that it was way more collaborative, and it just really was about meeting other people and getting together and making friendships, more so than any other conference I've ever been to. So from the activities to the breakout sessions to everything else, it just is a fantastic conference.
Great. Now we're going to talk about what you're going to be talking about at the conference, because you're going to be speaking on 2 different days, like 2 different topics. The first one you're going to be talking about is Xero, Xero, which I didn't even know about, but you use it instead of QuickBooks. And can you explain all the ways you're using Xero? Because I know a lot of people think QuickBooks is the only option and the only thing out there. When I heard there's something besides QuickBooks, I was so excited to get you to speak on it.
Yeah, so we love Xero. We got, I think, kind of lucky with it when we started off because we used for payroll Gusto, and Gusto had an automatic sync with Xero. So a lot of it was for simplification relative to QuickBooks. Then I implemented the NARPM chart of the accounts and NARPM standards. And from there, Xero recently put out a feature which allows you to calculate formulas. And I've come up with some really creative ways of automatically getting all of the critical metrics that any property management company needs so that they can run their companies well. Things like revenue per unit, customer acquisition cost, customer lifetime value, the percentage of revenue that I receive from a certain source. I can have it in dollars, percentages, you name it. I can calculate anything. I set it up in Xero. QuickBooks does not have any of that capability. And I want to show some people some of the cool things that I've done with it.
And it's just been so exciting for me because I've used QuickBooks for 20 years, and it's always been so frustrating to me because they do the things like where they want you to be on QuickBooks online and only online. And I've been one of those people that I liked my numbers not on the internet. It was just that there was a lot of, with QuickBooks, there's not a lot of, if they don't want you to do it one way, there's no way you're doing it. And I just found it to be a lot of repetition, a lot more input. So I'm excited to go to your event because I don't know about Xero, and I want to go because I think I might switch all my businesses to Xero if you can show me how to do it. So I'm so excited to hear you talk about Xero.
Yeah, no promises here, Paul, that I'm going to get you to switch, but I just want to let you know some different technologies that are out there and one that I really love.
And you don't work for Xero, and you just love Xero and just use it?
I don't. It's technically a company from, I think, Australia or New Zealand. So it's, but they've got great customer service, and I've had great experiences with them. And this really, for me, has been a game changer. Just to kind of speak to everyone else, I know a lot of you out there, you're probably either on Profit Coach or you're doing a lot of spreadsheets. And so this allows me to not have to do either. So it's super, super powerful. I'm really excited to share this with the audience.
But if someone is not mathematically inclined like you, they could also use Profit Coach to help them interpret their data, but Xero will help them make that quicker and faster. So, I know I'm a numbers guy, you're a numbers guy. We love interpreting data. I get people that are salespeople, and they're like, oh my gosh, numbers, that's like foreign transactions to me. I don't want to know about them. So,
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You're exactly right. So Profit Coach is a fantastic organization. I highly recommend that for the majority of the people that I speak to. But ultimately, this is also great for me. So, and I just want to share that with others.
Yeah, me and you are numbers nerds. We love our numbers. I get so happy when I'm looking at numbers and trying to figure them out. It's like a big puzzle. So much fun.
Yeah, I talk about it's my secret joy is accounting. I'm a kind of a sadist in that way.
Yeah, I love accounting. It's just, but again, people look at me and they're like, oh my God, you love accounting? What's wrong with you? So the next day, you're going to be talking about utilizing technology to streamline and improve EOS meetings. So what exactly are you going to be talking about there?
Yeah, so we recently had a big problem that we were trying to solve, and we implemented EOS fully, but what we have is what we call cascading level 10 meetings. And so what was happening was we would be in 3 or 4 different meetings, and we would have all of these to-dos, and they would be all over the place. And we had a hard time keeping track of the things that we needed to do. So recently we implemented our level 10 meetings and all of our meetings, daily huddles, one-off meetings, standard reports meetings, things like that in Notion. And we've developed some really cool capabilities so that we can automatically pull in that information and be able to see it in one single workspace so that it's all compiled together. What's also great about what we did was it allows us to push that information back into the meeting automatically so that you don't have to end up going all these different places to try to be able to do your work. It's all compiled in one place in Notion. And this is something that I was struggling with because, a software like Lead Simple just wasn't able to do this for me well enough. So, it's something that we built out over the last 6 months or so, and I'm super excited to share about that too.
This is kind of cool because Wolfgang, on his second day, he's doing Intro to Notion, a whole thing, because he's telling us that that's one of his favorite new technologies is Notion. I don't know. I don't have a notion what Notion is. But I'm excited to see that so many of these speakers I don't believe it's a new technology, but it's a technology that I guess is like what Zapier was 5 years ago, just doing like something different that really is.
Yeah. It's super robust, and I'm not a Notion expert. I had one of my remote staff do all of the work, but we kind of architected it together and stuff. But it's super powerful. The vast majority of property managers are using it as an internal company wiki, and I also intend to use it as an internal company wiki. But instead of doing something like 99.io or some of these other technologies that are really just for level 10 meetings, we've kind of done some things uniquely to repurpose Notion in creative ways to allow us to do some of these task management.
That's awesome. I'm so excited to hear your sessions and go through what they are. So these are some personal questions, and if you don't want to answer them, don't answer them. But these are ones that people like to know, what's the differences? Because a lot of people don't know their numbers, and I know that for me, knowing my numbers was the most important thing. And some people think, oh my gosh, someone has 2,000 doors, someone has 300 doors, and they think, oh, the person with 2,000 doors is way more profitable. From what I've learned from watching companies, there's a lot of 2,000 door companies that are not very profitable, and a lot of 200-300 door companies where the CEO's not working much, and they're very profitable, and they have a big high staff because they know their numbers and they can make sure the numbers are well. What is the average revenue you generate per property about?
So per month, somewhere between $250 and $300 a unit. Obviously, it's somewhat seasonal. We have leasing seasons and things like that. But from what I've looked, we're always pretty much north of $250 a unit.
And your units, for whatever it passed, you're not all A and B class properties. You have a lot of C.
Yeah, we're mostly C. I would say pretty much straight C class, mostly multifamily. So like I said, we have 100 and something properties and 300 units. So a lot of 2-3 families. And the average rent for us is probably $1,200, $1,300, maybe $1,400 now. So, we're doing pretty good on the revenue that we're receiving on a monthly basis for the rents that we're receiving. We've been pushing historically over 20%.
And I would like to hear that because some people are managing $5,000 rentals. It's going to be very easier to get a higher margin but you can grow very quickly at the C-class properties. A lot of people don't want to get into the C-class properties. They want the easy A-class, and they say they're easy. They have their own problems, but definitely so people know who you are. I mean, you're in the weeds. You're dealing with properties that have a little more work, and you're in Connecticut, which has some legislation, so you have to know what you're doing.
Oh yeah, it's definitely tough, and Connecticut's got its own other set of unique challenges, and so we're always dealing with changing regulation, It's very much, we've had a net exodus of people for about the last 20 years. And so we haven't been building much, hasn't have a lot of rent growth except for the last 3 years or 4 years. So there's definitely some significant challenges to our market. And one of the ways that you can see that is we don't have any of the big boys in it. Evernest is not there. Mind, or whoever they're going to become, is not there. I don't think Pure has any people in Connecticut. So all of the players are not in Connecticut specifically because it's a really hard market to do well.
That's great. Has your revenue per property increased or decreased over the last 12 months?
So my revenue per unit has increased over the last 12 months, but my total revenue has decreased slightly because we've lost some units through attrition. Our Connecticut market is extremely hot for sales. We actually have not seen a decrease in price at all. We're still going up year over year. All of the metrics say that we're the hottest real estate market in the country. And so owners are still deciding to sell instead of continue to have us manage.
But the fact that your price per unit is going up, what are the factors that you feel have contributed to your price per unit going up over the last 12 months?
I rolled out some modifications to leases and management agreements, even though we had some changes in legislation that caused us to not be able to realize as much revenue in one place. We've been able to offset that by realizing revenue in other places. So, for example, our state has a rule about late fees, where it used to be, as long as it wasn't considered egregious, you could charge pretty high late fees. So we used to charge 10%. I think that's relatively standard. And now the rule is you can charge the lesser of $5 a day or 5% with a max of $50. But the problem that happens, Paul, is that if you start a notice to quit, you're basically saying that the lease is no longer valid, and that stops your ability to charge late fees. So whereas we used to get $100 or $120 in late fees per person that was late, now we're getting $10 or $20. So that was one thing that really hurt. Another one was they changed a law that does not allow you to charge any move-in fees. So we used to charge a non-refundable pet fee. We used to charge a lease preparation fee. All of those went away when the state passed these laws. And so we are up in revenue slightly, but we've had to combat some changes in the legislative process to be able to realize that revenue.
And so, I always tell people, you always have to be kind of moving with the times and always keeping your foot on the pedal, figuring out what you're going to do next. Because all these new laws, they're less money for you, but the owners need you more too. If they're going to rent the property and not sell it, it's probably a lot harder to self-manage now in Connecticut.
That's exactly correct. And I've been hearing a lot more pain from our owners. We're starting to get a lot more calls with people that are looking for property management, or these people are eventually deciding to give up and sell. So I definitely think that for our market and the horizon, property management is going to be good and strong in the next 2 to 3 years. But, for now, I have to hold on a little bit.
Great. Well, what system do you feel is your favorite system that you have mastered, and it's just the one that you built that you're like, ooh, I love this system. Like mine was my renewal process when I sold my company, because that was the one that I felt gave me the most money, and it was really well done. What would you as your favorite?
I really enjoyed, and I would say my baby is still Lead Simple. So building out all of the Lead Simple processes, I think, has been instrumental to my company. Also, I think more recently, rolling out EOS company-wide. Hopefully, you spoke about a little bit about how active you have to be in your property management business. I just went on a 43-day vacation across the country. And it was all predicated on the stuff that we've done in Lead Simple, and really enabling and supporting my team and coaching them and mentoring them, following up the process of EOS. And so I think those are the two things that I'm most proud of. I know they're a little bit bigger than a lease renewal process, but for me, those are the ones I'm most proud of.
Well, what of those ones in Lead Simple, what specific process do you think is your favorite process that you've created so far?
Maybe our collections process. I think that was pretty good. Lease renewal process is very good as well. There's a bunch of them. My property review process, I like. There's a lot of them. I can't say that I have one favorite, and partly that's because I haven't really made significant modifications in Lead Simple in probably a year or more. So, and I don't really use them anymore either. So,
okay, well, your staff does. So here I'm hearing is, if you are in need of a collection process, talk to Sam about what he's done, because that's his favorite. What process do you feel right now that your company's working on the most, that you need because we're never done with all our processes. We're always recreating, redoing, remaking, and we have areas of concern. What area is concerning you most right now?
Yeah, so I would say a couple. So one, we're leaning into Notion a lot more. So building out the wiki and building out all of the databases and like frequently asked questions and data sets that have our policies, our procedures, those type of things. So that's one of the things that I think is something that we're working on. The other one I would say is using Lead Simple as a means to train. And so what Lead Simple, one of the things that they do amazing is they have the notes option for every one of the tasks. And so building out Loom videos for each of the individual notes, and then putting in other information that can kind of support people can become a training exercise in itself. And so that's the next thing that we're focusing on, is trying to get all of the team to go and use Loom videos to define how they do work, so that as we expand, they're not going to have to be called on as much. You can just follow those Loom videos themselves, and really focusing the entire team on that concept of continuous improvement and improving the processes by documenting very explicitly how work gets done through Loom videos. So those are the two things that I would say are the biggest areas that we're focusing on that are process related. But we do obviously have other focus areas as well.
That is awesome. I really like that. That's some cool stuff. So Sam Eddinger, he will be speaking. I have gone to dinner and lunch and multiple meals with Sam, and I always enjoy just listening to him talk and hearing. He's also a very good listener about what you're doing, because trust me, he takes your ideas and uses them and implements them in his companies. But we hope to see you at the Systems Conference. For everyone out there, you want to come, you want to sign up. Systems Conference is very different in the fact that we have, on the last 2 days, there's 12 rooms that you get to pick from, and you're going to have under 20 people in each room, and you're going to have question and answers. Sam's thing with Xero is not going to be that he's going to be talking about Xero for 70 minutes. He's going to be talking about it, and then he's going to be demoing it, and then you're going to be working on it, and you're going to be trying it out, and it's interactive. So everything in this conference is interactive. It's all about, you won't feel bad asking a question that there's 15 people in the room, because there's 15 people and they want to hear it too. So it's a very interactive event. Excited to have Sam there. Sam, always good to have you on. Always good to talk to you. Can't wait to see you in January.
Sounds good. I'm super excited for it to happen, Paul. Can't wait for it to come.